guys, welcome to today's video. And in the video we'll be making the dress just like you saw on the thumbnail. And if this looks like something you'd be interested in watching, please continue to watch, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe and turn on your notification if you haven't. So to begin this dress, the first thing I do is I fold this dress into two, as you can see, and then at the bottom of the Ankara where my hand currently is, I folded it also there by 1.5 inches, because this is where the lining is going to be meeting the bottom of the dress. Now I go on to take the full length of the dress, beginning it from the bottom, and I'll be meeting it on the half length of the dress, which for me I usually measure from the shoulder to the waist area. So then I go on to make a point there. So to get a straight line, I do it twice on the same point. So now I go on to measure the waist to the hip side, which I usually use 9.5 or 10 inches depending on the person I'm making the dress for. So I mark it out there, and then I'll measure on the waist area, measure the waist, divide it by 4, and then add 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then I also go on to make a point on the waist side. Then I do the same thing for the hip points where I measured there, and then I make it meet on that. Then I draw a straight line rather. So the thing is, usually when I am folding to make a dress, either the top or the bottom, I usually use like the widest section of the body to be able to fold this Ankara, just so that I don't fold it in excess. And then I go on to do the same thing again for the bottom. Or for the bottom is a little rather tricky, so you can actually just draw a straight line or just do your very best to curve it to get the pencil shape, just like you'll be needing for this. But just make sure that it is not too tiny. Just make sure that it is not too small. So now we go on to cut for the back part of this bottom. As you can see, I opened out the bottom of the skirt part that I bent, just so that we'll be able to cut it out in a straight line. So while also cutting the back part of this, don't also forget your zipper allowance. As you can see, I left out about 1.5 inch for zipper allowance. So after cutting out the back part of this gown for the bottom, we're going to cut the slit area. So for this slit, I usually measure 20 inches from the waist to the bottom part where I want to cut out, and then just make a mark there and cut it straight down. So guys, for the top of this dress, we go on to measure out the princess dart for it. And if you look at the picture on the thumbnail very well, you notice that the top side of this gown, they used a net to cover the top side, or a lace net for it. But because my client already has an Ankara with this same, almost the same design with a lace net on it, decided to make this one plainly just the Ankara. So for this, the first thing we do is we mark out the nipple to nipple measurement for this, and then make it divided into 2, which is a half. And then I just like to mark it on 3 points so that I get a straight line. And then I use the ruler to straighten out this. So after straightening it out, on this same straight line that I've drawn, I go on to mark out the shoulder to nipple point and shoulder to under bust point. And then usually I like to add also the shoulder to the waist point, which for me is usually 3 inches after the under bust. Then I measure out the shoulder side, and then also I take out 1.25 inch on both sides of this straight line that I marked in the middle, and then do the same thing for the top side, just as you saw me do. Now these lines that were drawn from the top and from the bottom side, we make them meet on that middle point, just as you can see. And then, so please do not forget to drop the shoulder by 1 inch, and then as you can see for the next side, I dropped it by 4 inches down. That's because this person didn't want hers to be a boat neck, just like the one in the thumbnail. Then we're going to trim out all these parts of the princess dart, just as you can see. Now we'll bring it to the back for the princess dart, and then we'll go on to fold the fabric just like this, and then we'll emplace the front section on the back section, and use the front side to cut out the back. Also, do not forget to include your zipper allowance for this. And also, when you place the front on the back, please don't forget to cover out rather the breast pocket for the front side, just as you can see. Don't allow any space in between for the breast area. So for the back neck area, I dropped it by 2.5 inches, and then as usual I went to touch on the zip allowance just so that it doesn't have a bulge at the back. Then also please do not forget to nudge the dart for the back and also the zip side. Now please go on to cut your lining and interfacing and waddy and every other thing that you need to cut into your fabric, and also iron what needs to be ironed. Now I also went on to sew this, and this is the front part of the dress after I have stitched it together and then turned it with the lining. So this is what it looks like, and then this also is the back after I've done the zip allowance and the that's on it, but I've not yet linked it together with the front. So this is what it also looks like. Then I also went on to sew the bottom part of the gown, which is like the skirt, and this is the front part of it after the dart. So this is also what it looks like. Then I did the same thing for the back of this dress, and then also please do not forget the zipper allowance for the back of the dress. Then I also stitched down the slit because I was yet to because as you can see, because I was yet to shaping it together with the front. So I stitched it down so that when I am shaping the front and back together, it wouldn't be giving me an issue because maybe the back would be widening out more than required. So this is the inside when I stitched the back together, although I didn't stitch it very tightly. It was just very loose enough for me to be able to loosen when I was done. Now I went on to shaping both sides together, the top and the bottom. I went on to do it together, and then as you can see for this top side of the front, I trimmed out the armhole to allow me to be able to link the arm once I was done. So this is what it looks like, as you can see. Now I also went on to shaping for the skirt part of this dress, as you can see that I have done. And then like I mentioned earlier, for the back I also now loosened the slit for the back, just as you can also see since I'm already done shaping it. Now I go on to link the top and the bottom sides together. So after linking this dress, the bottom and top on the waist side, we're going to cut the sleeve for this dress. Now for the sleeve of this dress, it is as long as from the shoulder area to, so it's a full sleeve basically, and it's like divided into 3 parts. The first part is from the shoulder to a little after the elbow. Then the second part is the puff area that is right after the first part, and then the third part. Now to cut the first part of this sleeve, we're going to measure from the full length of your arm, of your client's arm, from the shoulder area up to the elbow area. Now if you also notice, I added a little bit of like 3 inches because it was not as long as what I wanted, so I just simply extended the length of this. Then I'll leave a link to the basic sleeve pattern cutting in the description box of this video. Then you can just follow that pattern to understand how I cut the sleeve for this dress. Now after measuring the first part of this sleeve and cutting it out, you're going to cut the third part of this sleeve, which is like a band at the wrist side of this dress. Now to achieve this, we're going to fold the material just as you can see, and then so this was folded into 4, and then I went on to cut it using 5 inches, making a total of 10 for the round of the sleeve. Now the second part of this sleeve was cut using the full length of the Ankara by 8.5 inches, and so we just basically fold into to measure 8.5 inches using the full length of the Ankara and just simply cut a straight line so that we'll be able to pleat the second part of it. Now this is the sleeve when it has been cut and sewn. As you can see, this is a full sleeve, a complete sleeve already done. So now let me show you how I achieved this sleeve using the materials that we cut in the previous frame. Now this is the first part of the sleeve. As you can see, it has already been turned over with lining, and now this is the lining for the second part of the sleeve. So I cut this lining using 2 inches lesser than the original width for the second part of the sleeve, and then I just simply stitch it using the person's arm measurement. And this is the third part of the sleeve, as you can see. Now we'll go on to pleat the second part of the sleeve so that we are able to bring it make it into what we want it to look like. After pleating this part of the sleeve, we go on to pleat the other end of this same material just so that we have it even. And please don't forget to follow the pleats as you do it. Now this is what we have after pleating the top and the bottom of this same fabric, and then we'll also stitch it together, and this is what we can see. Now this part, which this lining here, we want to slip it inside and then stitch this fabric together with the lining, and then this is what we have. Please don't forget to also turn this out just so that your sewing looks very neat. And so this is what I'm showing you that we have. So this is what's going to give it the puff, because of the lining is shorter than the material by literally 2 inches. Now go on to join the top side of this sleeve, and then join it with the second part of the sleeve, as you can see me do. So guys, once they have been joined together, this is what we have for this sleeve. And then as you can see, the puff is already showing, it's already very evident. Now we'll just go on to simply add the third part of this sleeve, just so we can finish up with this sleeve. To attach the third part of this sleeve, one of the first things we do is measure the second part of this sleeve, so that we'll use the measurement to sew out the third part of the sleeve. And once we've gotten a measurement, we'll go on to sew it, just as you can see. Now once this is sewn, we'll go on to attach it to the sleeve, just as you can see, and we attach it inside out. Please also ensure that the parts that meet on a straight line, the parts that are sewn, please ensure that all of them are sewn to touch on one point on this sleeve. Now we'll also go on to bend it out, just as you can see. Now once we have bent this round, we'll also go on to stitch it down, just to have it firmly attached to this. So as you can see, now this is the sleeve when it has been stitched down and attached, and this is the full sleeve. Now with this, we'll go on to attach it to the dress that we make, and please don't forget to include your zippers and you're done.